Hi guys, I'm back doing a tag video, which I've been wanting to do another tag video in like forever, and there really hasn't been anything new popping up that I felt really applied to me that I could do. So I finally found one that I just saw today, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta do this since I'm already set up recording and everything. You get it done and get it out of the way. It is the This or That book tag by Aura's Book Box. I thought it was really neat and really simple. It's just kind of like two choices, this or that for everything, so I don't have to think that hard to answer the questions. And I won't be repeating the same answers for a lot of the questions like I usually do because there's no repeats. So I'm just going to jump right in and get started. Number one is audio or book in hand. Well, if I had to pick one, definitely book in hand, but I do like to listen to audiobooks as well. Namely, just really Harry Potter audiobooks are the only ones that I have actually. So I've liked to listen to those driving in the car, and sometimes at night before I go to bed, I'd put in like earbuds or something, and so I can lay down and listen to them. But that's the only actually series of audiobooks that I've listened to. So definitely book in hand for that. Number two is soft cover or hardback. Well, in terms of actually reading it, I prefer the soft cover or paperback because they're easier to hold and they're cheaper, number one. But I do like the more like the sturdiness of the hardback books, and usually they're more interesting stuff going on with the cover and everything too. So I like those as well, but paperbacks are more convenient, so it has a slight edge for me. Three, fiction or nonfiction. Definitely fiction. I'm not a big nonfiction reader at all. Probably like 90% of the nonfiction that I've read has all been for school purposes. I'm just not really that into it. I like to read more about made up stuff, I think. Number four, fantasy world or real life issues. Well, this is a no brainer for me. Definitely fantasy world. I'm not that big on books about real life issues, contemporary, just plain romance crap, like I tried with that one, Perfect Chemistry, or anything like that that's just plain old everyday stuff. Well, or more than everyday, but going on. I think it's more interesting for me to see something that's set that has some element of fantasy or paranormal, sci-fi, dystopian, whatever, not just plain everyday stuff. Five, Harry Potter or Twilight. This is another no-brainer. Definitely Harry Potter because I've been a huge Harry Potter fan for half my life now, and though I have read the Twilight books out of curiosity because I didn't want to blindly bash them, and I've seen the movies, I'm not a fan, and honestly, I I don't want to be mean and say I'm a hater of Twilight, but I really do not like the series. I do understand why they're so popular. I'm not going to turn this into a whole Twilight rant, but I think they're totally sexist and stupid. But I get why they're so big. It doesn't work for me. Six, Kindle, iPad, or other. Well, I actually have a Kobo, which is like a Canadian brand of e-reader, and I got that one because, well, before Borders was going out of business, I love Borders, and they were selling it through there, and it's one of the cheaper e-readers. Uh, it works really well. I think it's the newest, the Touch one. But honestly, my favorite of anything is still regular physical books, even after reading on that. I don't know. It's cool to have a gadget like that, but it's not the same. Uh, I what I probably like about it is the portability and able to keep a lot on it, but it doesn't have the magical feel for me that an actual book does. 7, borrow or buy. Buy, unfortunately, because if I borrow a book that I really like, I have to end up buying it. The only time I would like borrowing is if I ended up hating the book. So I'd be like, oh, well, at least I didn't spend money on it. But I love to own books, and I have to have them. I like seeing them on the shelf. I like holding them, and besides actually reading them, because I'm weird like that. It's a collection for me. Number 8, bookstore or online. Well, when Borders, it's still technically not totally out of business yet. When they were open, I loved to shop there. I loved the smell of the books and getting to pick them up and look through them. So I would have definitely said bookstore then. But now with them gone, it's pretty much just Barnes and Noble. There's not really any independent sellers by me unless it's used books, which is not really, I don't like to buy used unless I can't find it new. So once they're totally gone, it's going to have to be online because Barnes and Noble, their deals are really just not that great for in-store compared to Borders. And to get the good deals, you have to go online now, unfortunately. I won't have my nice Borders rewards coupons anymore. 9, tell me one time or total trilogy. So pretty much standalone book or a series. Well, I like both, but I have to say that series are really becoming so popular now, especially in YA, which I read a lot of, that I kind of miss standalone books, like just to have one and have it all complete and not have to wait, like another year for the next one or anything like that and get it done. So while they're both good in their own way, as of right now, I would like to see some more standalone books. Monster read or short and sweet? Well, it depends. As long as there's a lot of stuff happening and it's interesting enough to justify it being a monster read, then I actually do like monster reads. But I also like short and sweet stuff because I get it over with and I feel satisfied afterwards. But monster read for me, unless it's dull and tedious, then I wouldn't want to be reading it anyway. Number 11, starry-eyed romance or full of action. Well, technically I prefer a mix of the two, but if I have to pick one, it has to be full of action. Books that is just about a plain romance they don't do it for me. It's too boring and it is not interesting enough. I need to have some real stuff happening with romance as a subplot. I do like, but I don't like romance novels or stuff that focuses on just lovey things. 12. Curl up in your snuggie or bathe in the sun. Well, does it look like my skin has seen the sun like any time recently? It should be pretty obvious. I don't have a snuggie, but I prefer to read, curled up. I don't go in the sun. I wouldn't mind reading outside in the shade, but since this says sun, I guess it's gotta be the snuggie. 13, hot chocolate or latte. Even though I have worked at a coffee shop for 6 years, I do not actually like coffee unless it's just a bare hint of coffee in a really sweet drink. Is like just a hint of coffee flavor. I do like, but lattes, no. Hot chocolate for me all the way. 14, read the review or decide for yourself. Well, I don't like to read in-depth reviews until I have actually read a book. Same goes for listening to it. But I do like to read kind of just general thoughts, what most people's feelings are on books and why, before I read something. So it's kind of a mix of just get general hints to kind of pick up the feel of, do most people think it's good or bad? Because I mean, I can usually gauge from that. I mean, lots of times I totally go against the crowd, so I end up deciding for myself in the end. But I do look at or listen to some reviews beforehand also. Oh, and that was all of it. 14 questions in the this or that book tag. I tag anyone who happens to watch this video. Feel free to do it.